I don't like tripods very much. They're big, bulky pieces of gear that 90% of the time I will take out on a hike or something and end up not even using. They can be outrageously expensive, with offerings from Peak Design going up to $650. Yeesh. On the other hand, I love these mini tripods, and I have 3 of them in front of me today. The SwitchPod costing $100 with a Joby head, the Joby GorillaPod costing around $40, and the Manfrotto Pixi costing $20. I love each of these little tripods, but I love each of them for different reasons, and in their own way, they've each become an indispensable tool for this YouTube channel. And today, I want to go over those reasons, and why you may want to choose one of these over another, and why one of them may actually be a hazard. Let's get into it. To kick things off, let's talk about the smallest and cheapest option, the Manfrotto Pixi. This was the very first tripod that I ever picked up about 4+ years ago now, and honestly, it was a great purchase. It's a small, well-made, no-frills tripod with the Manfrotto logo acting as the single control point. Something to note with this one is that it does not offer any kind of vertical shooting ability, so if you're going after that, maybe look at one of the other two. The biggest thing that sets this tripod apart from one of the others has to be that low price and its size. This is the only tripod that I have that has truly never gotten in the way. It's so small that you could get away putting it in a jacket pocket, which makes it incredibly useful as a tool that you don't have to sacrifice something else for. These other 2 tripods are still big enough that if you want to take them with you, you're going to have to make space for it in your bag, and possibly leave some other piece of kit at home and take it instead. That simply isn't the case with the Pixi. My one gripe with it is that if you do plan on putting a heavier camera on it, you do face the possibility of it sagging. If you are in a situation where you are in a bumpy car or something like that, where your surface is constantly shifting, this might cause problems. But I will say, this is after 4 years of use, so if you bought a brand new one of these, this might be way more stiff and not be a problem for you. And it has held up incredibly well for 4 years. Plus, if you plan on using this with a lighter camera, not a problem at all. Next up is the GorillaPod, and oh boy, do I have some mixed feelings about this one. Let's start off with the positives. Versatility is king when it comes to the GorillaPod. Having these fancy legs gives it the ability to wrap around things and be usable in situations where these other tripods simply wouldn't work. When you find a situation where the GorillaPod works and the other tripods don't, it really is cool, and it allows you to get shots that you simply wouldn't be able to get otherwise. I normally try not to repeat myself too many times when it comes to this, but I feel like it just cannot be overstated. Again, people break their cameras with this tripod. People also love this tripod. This is the duality of man. Once again, if you shoot with a lighter camera, like a phone or a Sony RX100, something like that, not a problem. I just really don't want to be responsible for someone breaking a camera. Lastly, and most expensive, is the SwitchPod. The SwitchPod is unique in the way that it tries to be both a tripod and a vlogging stick, and it actually pulls both of them off pretty well. When you're using it as a vlogging stick, it gives you a nice grip, actually 2 grips, one here and one more up here, and it gives you some extra reach, which can come in really handy. Then when you want it to be a tripod, you just flip it back out and you're good to go, which for the record, it also does really well. One of the big issues that I had with both of the previous tripods was how stability was an issue, and I am happy to say for the SwitchPod that is absolutely not the case. I've also put a Joby tripod head on this just because I like being able to use the same plate for both this and my GorillaPod. Out of these 3, it also feels the best, being made mostly out of metal, which gives it a nice substantial feeling. With that substantial feeling, however, does come its major downside, and that would be its size. This tripod is the biggest out of these 3. The Pixi is always able to fit in my bag, no matter what bag I have with me. This is not. If you already use backpacks, then that's probably not going to be a huge issue. But for me, it was for the first couple months of owning this. It is something to keep in mind before picking this up, because the last thing that you want is to buy the most expensive item on this list and then have it sit on a shelf somewhere and collect dust instead of using it. To be fair, this criticism can also mostly be applied to the GorillaPod as well. However, because of how flexible it is and janky it is for that matter, I have been able to squish this into a messenger bag in a pinch. Okay, wrapping things up. The Pixi. It's small, has a little stability problem with heavy gear, well made, and cheap. It is the one out of this three that I think I could blanket recommend to people. Even after owning this for 4 years, it is still such a useful part of my kit, even if all it's doing is holding a light. Having it be so small and light makes it so this can always be with you and it's not a burden. I cannot recommend this one enough. The GorillaPod. It's larger, it's versatile, and it may break your camera. However, if you understand what this can and cannot do, it can be a super useful tool. You can use this in situations where you cannot use one of these other 2 tripods. If you understand the risk, then I do recommend getting this tripod. Just be careful. The SwitchPod. It's unique, it's stable, it's built like a tank, it is the largest, and it's the most expensive. If that doesn't put you off, then this gets a huge thumbs up from me. Outside of the price and size being higher, I really don't have any complaints about this tripod. And that's something that I have realized about all 3 of these tripods. If any of these broke or went missing, I would replace them. Every one of these has a place for me in my kit. Even the GorillaPod. I like them each for completely different reasons. And if you know what to expect with each of them, I don't think that you'll be disappointed. Links to each of these will be in the description below if you want to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. God bless.